Welcome to A Well-Designed Business with your host, Luann Nigara. Luann has a lifetime of experience building a multi-million-dollar business with her husband and cousin, and she knows the challenges you face in your interior design business. Luann brings you real-life answers to your most pressing problems, as well as practical strategies to explode your interior design business. So, let's get to the business of interior design.
Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. Kim Worswick is with me, and all I can tell you is you better hold on to your seats. Kim launched Kimberley K Interiors just this past April 2017, and her solo firm is taking off. It is all referral-based because, as Kim will explain, her priority is finding the right amount of business based on the 5 key values that she has identified for herself. These guide her and how she runs her firm, and it helps her, as she says, keep a fantastic work-life balance, which is important to her. Now, Kim reached out to me because she listens to every show, and as a new business owner, she wanted to let me know how much listening to all of our guests have helped her in these last 5 months. And you know what that means? That gets you an invite to be on the show. Yes, it does. I'm just going to tell all of you right now because I love hearing the specific ways the various things that we have discussed help you in your business. And if you're able to identify them for me and really lay it out, then yes, that's just what I do. I invite you to be on the show to tell everybody else about it. So the other thing that's funny is when I was listening to the show in editing, some parts of it almost seemed like a coaching call. And you know why? It's because Kim was very honest about the challenges that she's been facing in these 5 months and about some of the mistakes that she's made. But we also discussed some of the things that she's been doing right. And that was a lot of fun too. So here's the thing. She is real, she is fun, and she's a ball of fire. And I think you're going to like her just as much as I do. Now, before we get to meeting her, I want to just give you some of her street card, the official bio. She's a residential interior stylist, decorator, designer, and jokester. She was born and raised in San Francisco Bay, California area, and she currently lives in Chandler, Arizona with her husband and kids. She has a BS in Human Communications and a minor in Sociology from Arizona State University. After college, Kim became an executive assistant, a wife, a military spouse, a Nordstrom designer handbag sales associate, a property manager, a mom, a design assistant, a designer, and now a business owner. So you're going to enjoy it. I really did like meeting her a lot, and you'll see here how she's been cracking me up on Instagram. Now, before we get into it, though, I just want to remind you that this show is brought to you in part by Kravit Inc. And if you haven't heard about it yet, their Philadelphia showroom is being completely remodeled. We're having a big party there on October 4th, right at the showroom. So if you're in the Philly area, please come out. Scott Kravit will be there. Ellen Kravit will be there. Kim and I will be there, meaning my Kim, Kim Seraphin. We'll be doing short interviews, and we'll be doing some Facebook Live. And I just want to say, Shosh from Love Your Room, Carrie Leskowitz, and Maria Viola Kutroff, I'm shouting out to you ladies because I know you guys are in that neck of the woods, and I really hope you'll come. I happen to know that Maria is definitely coming. So if you heard Maria's show just a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, in addition to being an interior designer, she is an adjunct professor at Drexel University. So if you thought you might like to pick her brain, she'll be there for certain. And if you're coming too, please be sure to let me know and be sure to introduce yourself to me. Alrighty, so that's October 4th, this October 4th, 2017 at the Kravit Showroom in Philly. All right, finally, here we go. Let me introduce you to Kim. Hello, everybody. This is another episode of A Well-Designed Business, and I am happy to welcome you to the show, Kim, because you crack me up, and I'm just meeting you for the first time. So, hi, how are you?
Live with Lou. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for me and you and being
this
together.
Is what I'm talking about. This kid is a nut. I swear to God. So I'm just going to tell everybody that we know each other from Instagram. And that's why I was laughing even introducing you, because I'm just laughing thinking about this and thinking about what I do know about you. And then, of course, what do? You hit us off with that in the introduction.
Can't help it.
That's it. All right. So this is the thing. So Kim started literally, tagging me in posts where she would be commenting on other designers' work saying, hey, that sofa is really beautiful, or that kitchen you designed is really beautiful. And by the way, have you heard of this podcast, A Well-Designed Business?
Yeah, I'm super into like promoting whatever I'm doing, and that is amazing, and I truly believe in. So you do such great work that I'm like, yeah, Luann.
Oh my God. Well, it's so funny because the first couple of times I was like, what's happening here? Like, wait, I'm not part of this post. Like, this isn't like you weren't sharing my post. You were actually commenting on theirs. And by the way, have you heard of this podcast? And I just started cracking up, and then we started messaging each other. And then the turning point came with your videos. And then I was like, that's it. This kid's got to get on the show.
Yes. I love my little videos.
So if you guys listening are not sure, you have to go to Kimberley K Interiors. And Kim, what is the handle on Instagram?
So it's Kimberley K, so KimberleyKay Interiors, and that's me, man.
Right. And so what she does is, in addition to everything else, what she does is, and I swear to goodness, you're going to see me copying this because I think they're awesome.
No,
she does these fast motion videos where she'll just like come on and accessorize a bed. Okay, today I'm going to put the pillows on the bed. And my favorite part is the shots of you at the camera where you make a face and then run to the other side.
Well, I have to keep it interesting. I've seen a few other videos out there and I'm like, man, those are boring. I got to, jump on this bandwagon, but make it super fun.
Yeah, no, it totally speaks to me. It resonates with me, and it totally grabs my whole crazy zany side. So I don't know how often my zany side comes through on the podcast. I have no idea, but I totally have that same zany side that you have.
And I hear it absolutely every day. I listen. Well, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay, so here's the thing. On top of her completely charming me and completely wooing me and completely having me in love with her, Kim actually has a pretty great business story happening here. Who knew, right? And so, first of all, she hits me with all of the things that she's implemented since she started listening to A Well-Designed Business podcast. And, I'm just saying that's the first way right to my heart right there. And she sent me a list of all the things that she's done. And I said it in the introduction, but she's only launched her business only this past April of 2017. So depending on when you're listening to this in the future, her business at this point is about 6 months old. And so it's terrific. And I'm going to run down some of the things that Kim has expressed and shared with me that she has done since listening to the podcast, because I want to run through the list, but I don't necessarily want to pick the list apart because Kim has some other lessons that she has experienced in her career as an interior designer, not only in her own business, but previous working for other people that I think are valuable. So, but what she's done just to inspire you to do the same and try and get your little act together in your interior design business, she has instilled a 10-step process. She has put professional pictures in her social media and on her website. She has made a change to her bio. Thank you, Fred Burns, right? She now knows to put her best foot forward. I would have to say of all of the shows, I might attribute that to Rachel Moriarty, to show yourself like a big guy, right?
Or Kelsey Gross from
right.
My Farmer's Daughter.
Exactly right. That's the truth. That is shocking that her business
was my first podcast that I listened to, and I reached out to you and her to like let you guys know that this was my first week in business. And so she was the one who kind of got me going with putting your best foot forward and putting professional photos on here. Okay. So that's interesting to know, because I remember the year before that, Rachel was saying, if even though you might be a solo, put your picture and your face to the world out there like a big guy. But you're right. Kelsey also. And everybody knows when I interviewed Kelsey and I found out, when I met her at Design Bloggers Conference, and then I went back and looked at her website and I was like, wait, that's the same person that only started her business 8 months ago? Like, you're kidding me. So she is a perfect example of that. That's for sure. And then asking lots of questions and of her vendors and suppliers. All right. How to set up bank accounts and taxes and paying yourself first. So that has to come from Michelle Williams from the Profit First show, right? Yep.
confidence, and she's learned some confidence from all the different guests, or any particular guest that inspired you. Okay. And then Instagram has to be between Mark McDonough and Darla, right? Darla also. Yep. Okay. And customer service. So I just think this is awesome. Customer service, was that Lee from the Disney?
That was, and I started listening to his podcast
God,
as well.
I love that show.
So,
oh my goodness. That was me having a total geek out moment, honestly.
Yeah, I'm having a geek out moment with you. So I mean, shoot, Lee, whatever.
That's so funny. All right. So, but here's the thing. You have other things that you talk about. And one of the things, other things to talk about. One of the things that I thought I would love to talk about is that you put right out there on your website, Kim, that you operate your business off of 5 key values. And to me, it's not relevant what the values are, because for every person they're different. But I like that you put it out there. And I would love for you to discuss a little bit how you came to, even, of course, the values are your values as a person. That part, you didn't have to let me think of what I should, put out there. But what was the thought process in putting it so foot forward there, face forward there on your website?
So when I worked for another firm, I just lost myself. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was. I just was drowning, basically. And then when I left the firm and started my own, that is where I really honed in on what I needed to focus on, by simplifying everything, and to make sure that I was doing the right things, and giving myself a balanced life. That is so, for me, I need to have all my little categories of life to make my firm successful. Because if all those other things aren't going right, then I'm failing.
So Kim, it sounds like to me that in the position with the other company that you learned the business side of the things, or a good portion of the business side, enough that you felt comfortable opening your own business. But what you also learned from that experience working for the other designer was that you didn't want your company to operate that way, that you wanted it to be a more rounded company.
Yes. So, when I left that company and decided, okay, I don't want to work for another firm because I want my own ideas to come out, and I started my own company, I really wanted to hone in on not being so overwhelmed with how many projects I was taking on, and really doing quality over quantity. And then that kind of snowballed into 5 really good key values that I need to base this company off of. And the values are
dun, dun, dun,
everybody
dun,
get, get your pens out. Is number one, being faith-based. I am Jesus lover. I love him. I think it's so awesome. And I pray all the time. So that is how I get my new business. I mean, it's referral based, and I just don't worry about it. I just know it'll just come. I'll be fine.
Okay.
And then number 2 is I obviously have to have a passion for design and really not burn out. So making sure that I know why I'm here. I know why I'm doing this business, and it's got to be longevity. I cannot just open this business and then burn out and be like, okay, that sucks. I'll just close it all down. So, and in my previous position, I just felt like underwater all the time. So I burnt out quickly. This one, owning my own firm, I really want longevity, and I really want to make this work. So, number 3 is giving back. I just have a passion for community service or whatever it may be, but I want to give back out there. So like through the social media, and I'm telling everybody about you, Luann, in the podcast, that's super important to me for people to know what I'm doing, because of course what I'm doing is great. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that there's such great information out there. I just teamed up with Winged Hope, which is a domestic violence advocacy center, and they have these interview rooms at the local police department, and they also had just purchased a couple homes in the area so that victims can come and be safe. So they asked me, because I had reached out to them just kind of saying, oh, I'm looking for a service project. Do you have anything for me? And they were like, yeah, we can use all your interior design help.
Wow.
So on all the new homes that we have and the interview rooms. So I'm going to be refreshing and styling those places. So I'm excited about that.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, and then the fourth one is healthy lifestyle. I just want to make sure I get to work out every day, and just be positive and just stay in the right frame of mind and just go for it. And the last one is being a fantastic wife and mother. Before my last firm, I just kind of forgot about my family. And this time I really need to make sure that that's important to me, that that's my goal, to help and service and be a mom and part-time this firm so that I can be there for my kids when they need me. So they're 4 and 2, so they, need me.
Very nice. Very nice. So I like that you have your head on your shoulders about it, that you've just decided that so you must consciously, I'm making a supposition, you must consciously put brakes on at some point, because otherwise, good work begets good work, creates more referrals and creates more business. And so you're just saying that you're consciously not allowing yourself as an entrepreneur to get sucked up into that cycle. Okay.
Yes.
So
and
tell
me
a little bit
about a few podcasts on how to go with your gut. And I have been really utilizing that. As I just had an email come through saying, oh yeah, you have a $150 consultation. Well, I don't really want to pay that. And I was like, oh, unfortunately, we're not going to work together because
you don't set my prices. I don't know.
Exactly.
That's crazy, but you don't.
No. Not happening. So yeah, I had another consultation where the girl was like, oh, I don't really like anything that you've done. So do you think I'm like, girl, this is not good. Not good. So no, let's not work together. Here's another couple people. So, I just don't want to work with projects that don't want to work with that stuff. Yay. I want to be paid.
That's crazy. Okay. So far you're really just allowing the people who are not a right fit for you to go by the wayside, and as opposed to a lot of younger, newer business owners are like, well, I have to grab every single person I can, and so therefore, even if it feels icky or yucky or whatever, I'm going to say yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And my only challenge with my current projects going is that I need to do what Kimberley Selden does, and say text messaging is for her family and friends, and that you cannot text me at night.
Yes.
And
right.
Yeah.
So you need to work on that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is, this balancing of life, right? And I'm trying to do that, but yet I still kind of get sucked into texting or emailing something at night when I should be hanging out with my husband or something.
So now does it start from you because you're trying to get something done, so you send an email and then it opens up the floodgates for the client? Or so you recognize that it's coming that way?
No. Okay. Yes and no. It's a lot of it has to be with one client. She's just a micromanager, so that's lovely. Didn't pick up that red flag at first, darn. So she texts me little things, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that, and then it just snowballs out of control, and then she'll be like, oh, are you ignoring me if I don't get back to her in 10 seconds?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I'm surprised at that because you have so intentionally set all the other things up around your values. And especially with 2 little kids, if you don't have the excuse to look at a client and say that after 6 p.m., I don't acknowledge texts or emails, who has that excuse? I mean, that's a built-in excuse right there. Yeah.
So I'm saying after this client, I'm not doing it. I'm almost done with her. So
okay.
Then I'll say no to everyone else. Yay.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, you know what? Look, I think it's great that you're setting it up within the parameters that works for you. I just had an email or I think I had a Facebook message today from a designer. I want to say her name was Wendy. I would almost have to pull out my phone. And she was
Wendy Callahan or something?
I don't know. Now you got me wondering. But she was actually saying to me, you know, how do I balance this with the kiddies and all this other stuff? Wendy Racer.
Oh, yeah. She should talk to me.
Yes. And so I said to her, you know, that I suggested that she listen to the show with Natalie Hurst. Do you remember that show? She was out from Utah, and she specifically is not growing her business beyond the level that she wants to grow it because she's raising children. I think she has 4 kids, Natalie does.
And she does it from her home or something.
Right.
And she's... Yeah.
Right. So it is possible to have your business fit within your lifestyle, and that's what you're striving to do. And I think it's great. Okay. Awesome. All right. Now, something else that you shared with me off air that I'd like to bring into the conversation, because I thought it was something that I had not heard in this entire, you know, almost 2-year journey of this podcast. And I would tell you it's mostly because, and it's probably, and after you said it, I thought, well, that's because I'm mostly talking to principals. Hello.
Yes.
So I'm usually talking to the big shots, right? So what you said to me was that one of the reasons that you were not happy at that firm, in addition to the work-life balance being completely out of skew, was that it turned that, you know, the person, I don't even know if it was a man or woman, I don't want to know who it is, would basically assign you a project, but then not let you bring your designs to fruition and change it so much that it didn't recognize your work. And the thing is, when you first said that, I thought to myself, well, yeah, it's their firm. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right. And so I can understand that from the principal's standpoint, but I never heard the frustration from the standpoint of somebody working very hard and feeling like they've pulled everything together, I guess, and then somebody comes in and basically with a big pen and edits the whole thing out or something.
Yes.
Tell us about that process, because I think there's probably more of your colleagues that are maybe in that boat now experiencing that, or just preparing students that are coming out and going to work for other people.
Yeah, I think it's just frustrating because as a creative brain, all of us are, you have 2 creative people in the place, and then you know, the principal will always they'll stump you every time. They'll overtake you. Trump you every time. And it's hard because you're just like, but I can see where this is going, and it could be amazing if you just let me do it. And sometimes she would let me, and it was great, and I would love it. But then it's not my work. It's technically the company's, and I can't really, you know, blast that off and say, look what I did, everybody, on my social media. Really. I mean, I can tag the company. Yay.
Right.
But I think that's the hardest part, but I learned so much. So it was getting to the point at the end of the 9 months that I was like, oh man, I really want to do my own things and, create what I want to create. So,
and it's not lost on you that the principal's not wrong in that situation.
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
No, I totally agree. And if I ever hire somebody, which I don't want to, I agree. They can do their thing and go for it, girl or boy or whatever.
Right. But when they're under your umbrella, then it's your house, right? It's like you wouldn't let your kids run amok. I mean, you know, you're raising your kids and they do it by the way you do it, right? So, okay. But I hadn't heard anybody express that frustration. And of course, I have dealt with many, many interior design firms over my years at WindowWorks. But of course, again, as much as I do have a lot of relationships with the project managers or the lead, when I say lead designer, I should say senior designer, the one right directly under the principal, I've never had the conversation where that designer has expressed frustration at not being able to express their vision all the way through. And it might be because I'm actually the peer of the principal, and that junior or that senior is smart enough to know not to tell me.
Absolutely. Yes. Right. Yes. Especially you as a vendor. Like, oh, what are you saying?
Right. So it was a new conversation for me, a new thought for me, because of course, I always look at it from the standpoint of the advantages that a designer has working for a principal is the safety. It's the, you know, you're not the one trying to make payroll at the end of the week. And, you know, you're not the one that has to figure out, you know, what health insurance I'm going to get everybody and, you know, all the really hard things. But I hadn't ever considered how frustrating it would be to be second seat to somebody, especially when you are free to do X amount of the design and then it gets chopped up maybe at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And also too, it's personalities. You
Yeah.
happen to have a strong personality and a strong design aesthetic, and you
Mm-hmm.
just was like, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah. Yes. And she too. And we both had like these strong aesthetics, and we're very big personalities, and it was just our egos, and it was hard. Yeah, but it was super fun, and I enjoyed it, and learned a lot. So I was happy to be there, but it got hard.
And from
Got
that standpoint, would you say that it is a worthwhile step for somebody to take in their journey of being an interior designer to spend some time at least working for somebody else?
Absolutely. Or like just interning or just getting your foot in the door for sure. And I think that was hard for me to find that foot in the door somewhere, as I got into like property manager and like being real estate lady to try to get to interior design point in my life. So thank God she let me be her design assistant, and then I learned everything. It was great.
And you
So.
said that too. You did not go to school for interior design.
Nope.
No.
Nope. I didn't do anything except for I think I did like this online school through Canada. It was like called QC Design School for staging and redesign. And I failed my project at the end. The lady was like, "What is this?" I was like, "I swear I'm really good. You just don't understand the circumstances I was under." So it's like a backyard patio or something. Yeah, it was interesting. So I failed.
Okay.
Once again, but I got back on the saddle.
Okay. All right. So take us through this last 6 months of the new business. What are some of the big ahas and some of the big lessons that you have learned, and you would say, I didn't know this, and this I plowed through and I kept doing it the wrong way, and then finally I had a breakthrough? Or I would tell you that if I could save you 6 months, do this from the beginning. Anything come to your mind, Kim?
Well, just the podcast, that was like, like I found it. Like, I feel like this is like free business coaching, like 101. Like, and this is everything I need to know is right here. So, of course, I want to, once I get a little more profitable, I will start doing your business that you have going.
This is not a plan, everybody. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I legitimately asked this question.
But I will do it one day, everyone out there. Just not today. So, yeah, I really want to get more polished in my business side. And then I also super learned to get a bookkeeper. That is one thing I just did. And I knew every step of the way, through all the podcasts, they kept saying, get a bookkeeper. That's your first hire. And I just was like, well, actually, I went to my husband. I was like, we have to get a bookkeeper. And he was like, you don't make enough. And I'm like, you don't even know that I had just 100,000 come through me. And so,
oh my goodness.
Like,
and he had no idea.
Yeah, no idea. So I was like, I really think so. And then so I just got her to clean up everything, and she gave me this big fat bill, and I was like, oh God. So that was a lesson that I should have done that at the very beginning when I said I need to do this. So everybody out there that's just graduating or just getting into this, please get a bookkeeper on your first day.
Okay. So time out. Let's pick that apart a little bit. So in the beginning, it's very logical to understand that someone would be like, I don't even have my first project. Why do I need a bookkeeper? But what you're saying is that it ended up costing you more money because you did 6 months or so without a bookkeeper. And by the time they made it cleaned up and figured out what you were doing, it was a bigger bill than it would have been if you had just had a maintenance bill for 6 months.
Yes.
Okay. Huge lesson. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Woohoo. Figure that out.
Yeah. And what have you changed? I'm sorry, but what have you changed since having the bookkeeper? Like, so the bookkeeper has taught you to what on a daily, weekly, monthly basis so that it can be a maintenance feature as opposed to this big mess at the end of the month.
Well, since I just hired her last week, yay, she just finished it yesterday, and I just paid her. But I told her, like, you categorize everything on monthly basis for me, and she's going to do everything because I don't know anything, and that's not my wheelhouse.
Right.
I am terrible with numbers. So, I mean, I'm still writing down, like, every income I get. Like, yay, I made $1 million here. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I am writing it down like monthly. Okay, what am I going to take? And then I take out 40%, and then I give myself a little check, and it's
Good
really
for you.
cute and all. But it's real. I gotta put on my big girl pants and have somebody else do this because I
Yeah.
don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Right. But you are going to still be involved so that you continue to learn. You never need to
Yes.
learn to be actually
Yes.
the bookkeeper, right? But you need to know
Yep.
that you know what you're doing with it, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
I've been trying to figure out and asking her tons of questions on like taxes, what do I owe, and like, and then with vendors and all that jazz, and then also just figuring out my P&L. Like I have been listening to that one podcast with
Michelle
what's her name?
Williams.
Yes, and I
Yes.
love her accent.
I
And
know.
I just listen to it all the time because I need to figure out this like P&L thing and how to like figure out what my bottom line is and
Right.
what's sticking to me. So,
That's good. I mean, and she also does business coaching, and so that might be a good place for you to look too. I mean, I would certainly love to
yeah,
have you one day, but I'm just saying that
yeah.
Michelle is also, and she's actionable in that way. Okay, so all right, so I like that, and then she also may have online courses, Kim. I'm not sure. That might be easier for you to handle financially as you're growing,
Right.
and therefore, have you get some, information and knowledge as you go along. Okay, so very, very, very interesting. All right, now, where did you find your bookkeeper? How did you go about doing that?
I Googled it
No
and
way.
then yeah, I just Googled it and her name. I go off of pictures. So when
Highly
I found your
technical.
podcast, I was like, oh, I love those little plants. I'm gonna get her. And then I just listened and I loved it. But my other lady, my bookkeeper lady, I just saw her name, like it said Common Sense, and I thought that was so cute. So, and she had 5 reviews and they were all good and everything. And I just like was like, lady, come over to my house right now. I
So
need
now,
you.
is she local to you, Kim, or is
Yep,
she is? Oh, so it's
right down the street.
okay. So all right. So here's the thing: we're making a little bit of a joke of this, that you like the pictures and different things, but
Mhm.
can I ask you if there is some level that you're functioning on your intuition on it? Because it sounds like you're
Yes.
having a gut reaction to it and functioning on intuition, and I'm huge about that. But then you're also then, like you said, Googling the reviews and taking the meeting and
Mhm.
stuff, right?
Yes.
So, okay, I like it, because I don't want anybody listening to mistake the playing and the kidding for what that is, and that's your
Absolutely.
instinct and your intuition working for you. Good.
Right. And I do want to say that I did see a CPA a month prior, and I paid my little money and everything to go there and talk to them. And they looked at me like I felt like I wasn't prepared to go into that meeting. I had no idea what I was talking about, and I wish that Judy, who did you just
Jody
have?
Padar.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And I listened to that whole thing, and I was like, well, that would have been helpful back in time. But yeah, I was all over the place in the meeting. They had no idea what I was doing or talking about, and it was a waste of an hour and a half. They didn't email me back or anything. That was yeah, that was fun. So,
See, and that's why
yeah.
I had Jody on the show, because I
Mhm.
really feel like that's a legitimate thing that happens to solo entrepreneurs, particularly newer ones, younger ones, that some of
Yes.
these establishments just don't take you seriously and they talk above and over you. And by the
Yeah.
way, listen, I'm in that boat. I say it all the time. This is not my wheelhouse either, but I'm married to the guy that it's his wheelhouse. So
Yeah.
I don't have
Yes.
to worry about it. But if I ever did, that would be the thing that I would need. I would need somebody
Mhm.
that's going to talk to me straight, not pretend that, I don't know what I'm doing and that this
Right.
isn't a valuable thing. So that's interesting that you had that experience. And then Jody came on and she was very helpful. She really did say, she kind of gave you the information that you need in order to
Mhm.
have that conversation, but also to really let everybody know that if it's that way, you're not in the right spot.
Yeah,
That
and I
that's
loved
not
her
how a
last
CBA should be.
totally, and I loved her last little bit about how she said you need to tell your bookkeeper or CPA about your goals. And my
Right.
goal is to stay small. So
Right.
I was all about that.
Right. Well, that's true, because some CPA might be sitting there thinking, "Oh, this is new business owner, and I'm interested
Uh-huh.
in this person because they're going to, double their income and do all this
Mhm.
other stuff, and they're going to be a big fat account for me." So you want to make
Mhm.
sure it's clear. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. So this woman is obviously working with you on a part-time basis.
Yes.
Yes. That's okay. And so what did the two of you determine is the amount of hours per week that would probably suit what you are at your level?
Well, she's gonna do monthly. So she's gonna she's $250 I think a month to like look at everything and categorize everything. So I don't even know
Okay.
actually if that's a
It's
lot
like a
or
flat
a
fee.
little.
It's like a
Yeah,
flat fee for her
exactly.
services. Okay, which is a lot what Jody said too. If you didn't she say the same thing where, we evaluate what you need and then turn around and put you into our monthly setup and whatever it is. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Okay.
that's probably what she did. I just don't know that, unfortunately.
No, I like it. Okay, so that's a huge lesson that you would say to somebody somehow, some way, figure out how to get a bookkeeper involved early on.
Yes.
And you're only
Day
6
one.
months into it, and you're saying
Yep.
day one. Love it. Okay, your husband's happy that you did it.
Yeah, he was like, "Whoa, I didn't realize that you had a lot going and you didn't, know what you're doing."
Well,
So,
I'm sure she explained to you the trouble that you could have been in come the end of the year when it is
well,
time for all the taxes and
right,
stuff, right?
right. She just said it would take way longer and you would have paid, a lot.
Right,
So,
right. I love it. Okay, anything else that comes to mind, Kim? Things that you were like, huh, I wish I did that sooner, or whatever.
um, I just went on a job site where I was supposed to, make sure that the grout was right, and then the grout was wrong at the end of the day, and I went at the beginning of the day. So now I'm going to do what Amber Lewis does, where she puts the design on the wall.
Oh,
And yeah, so I'm going to pinpoint that up with all my tradespeople and say, this is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. This is the grout color. This is the tile. If you, and then my husband brought up a great point was to like put up there, if you run out of tile, who do you contact? Who bought the materials? Like
that's
who do you
smart.
go, like, yeah. So a process for that because, um, I don't want them to text me and then I'm in a meeting or something and I
Or
can't get
it's
to
the time that
them.
you decided to spend with your kids because you're not doing this
Right.
50, 60
Exactly.
hours a week, right?
Exactly. So, just really making it so crystal clear with everybody is my goal so that we're all transparent, we're all good to go, and we all don't make mistakes.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, you're finding it out, I'm sure already. But the thing about that is that is something that takes a tremendous amount of organization on
Yeah.
the beginning of the project. And I know firsthand that I have said it on the podcast before. One of my pet peeves with working with interior designers is there are changes to the window treatments during the process, and I don't get notified of those changes, or I get notified by a phone call, or I get notified by an email. And not for nothing, but it's not the only email I got that day. I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
you
Just
know,
567.
yeah, exactly. So it's sort of like really because what happens to me is, and this would be what your Tyler would say or anybody else would say to you is, but this is what's on your purchase order. You see? And when the purchase order changes, and so I'm talking about change orders, but I love what you're doing is, and it's the same thing. A lot of times I will get 2 pairs of drapes family room. And I'm like, that's my purchase order. And it doesn't say the fabric. It doesn't say
Right.
any.
All the stuff.
Yeah, right. And so the thing is that the tiler could just be sitting there, like you said, with the grout and the tile and an idea of the plan. But if the grout is the wrong color and nobody knew it, how is he going to know it? So
Right.
it will take a lot of energy on your part to organize that, but it will make your jobs really, really efficient. That's exciting. That's great.
Yeah.
So, because sometimes you're saying the tile or whatever might have been purchased by the homeowner as opposed to by you. And so
Yep.
this way they're chasing you all over and need another pound of, grout or whatever the heck it is.
Yep.
But meanwhile, the lady's sitting in the kitchen and he could have just said, lady, I need more grout.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Or hey, Tyler gave me an estimate and he said he quoted only 50 square feet, but we actually needed 70. And so he's trying to contact me, but I was in a meeting. It's all over the place.
Right.
So it's we gotta
Okay.
make sure this is all taken late.
Okay, I like that, especially as a solo, because you don't have assistants and phones that can be answered when you're otherwise busy. So you, at the beginning of a project, when you agree with your client what it is that you're going to do in a particular space, you're just saying you're going to take the step to really very carefully lay it all out with all its details, and then make sure that it's also available to the vendor and on the job site.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's exciting. I wish that I could, you could
do that.
Yeah.
these are the fabrics. This is what's happening.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Okay, cool. And so what are some of the key lessons that you learned in the other studio that you specifically took with you to your firm? I know what you left behind. What did you take? Mm-hmm. Anything?
Yeah, I took everything. Just kidding. No, I just really I did the process that they were doing, and did kind of the same flat fee basis kind of thing, and just really kind of did the same process. That's what I totally got out, and not burning bridges, and trying to handle problems in a very, what am I trying to say? Good way, easy way.
Positive.
Yeah, positive way.
Proactive.
Instead of freaking out and having a ton of drama, just let either the client know immediately is what I've really learned, because I used to wait, and that was not good.
Okay, so that's something you learned.
Yep.
Okay.
Let the client know immediately, and just handle the issue, and let the client soak it in, and maybe they'll be mad at me for a little bit, but not react until later and say, okay, this is what we're going to do after you've had a moment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, and because the fact is that what people forget is that you're eventually going to have that conversation at some point. And so by delaying it and putting it off and avoiding it, you just create more pain and more drama and more legitimate unhappiness. In other words, unhappiness isn't the right word. More dissatisfaction, and I feel like it delays, and it puts it starts to let the problem be characterized by something that wasn't the problem. So, for instance, if the tile grout was installed wrong, and you don't tell the person right away, and maybe they're out of town for the weekend, and you're angsting over it, and you don't say anything, and then finally it's Sunday night, and does that woman want to find out on Sunday night at 10 o'clock as opposed to Friday morning at 9 o'clock when you knew it? And the thing is that the color of the grout is still wrong, but now you've added this layer of agita for a client, and now the client, in my mind, can focus on, and you have to tell me this at 10 o'clock on Sunday night, and now we can't move to resolution. So, and that's may or may not be a great solution, because how many people go out of town and that happens? I'm just saying.
Well,
the point
it did. That is exactly the story that happened. And then I tried to tell her, no, the grout looks great. It's timeless, blah, 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 because I did something wrong. And totally. And I was like, I will never do again. I'm going to tell her immediately, or them.
That's bizarre that I went down that whole road, and it's exactly what happened.
Pinpointed it. Exactly. Sunday night, here we are. Kill me now.
Bizarre. That's bizarre, Kim. Talk about queuing in.
Great.
Okay, but so then you made the second mistake, though, of trying to tell her and sell her on that was a good enough color. Yeah.
That's right.
Again, it's a newbie mistake. I have to say, it's a newbie mistake. Yeah, no, you have to stand in your space and own it. And it's fine. People, you know what? Here's what it is. In business, everybody makes mistakes, whether in business a minute or 50 years. So the client that can't understand that, that's their problem. I mean, you have to figure out a way to explain it to diplomatically and all that stuff. But there's nobody that's going to sit there and say, I never make mistakes in my own world. So to sit there and try and convince somebody that something is beautiful that is not is really contrary to everything that you are and what you do.
Totally.
Yeah. So you just the whole thing is to own it and to acknowledge it and acknowledge to them. And I have to say, I have found over the years, when I'm the first one in the room to say that this isn't right, this isn't what you or I visualized, this isn't what I intended, or I picked this, and I'm sorry because I think it looks horrible, and I agree with you. You know, I have found that in the beginning it's hard to do that. Once you learn to do it, learn it right away, just start doing it. Half the time, the customer, the client then is like, well, it's not that horrible. I actually could this. And I just had that recently with somebody. And they get to, you know, I can live with it the way it is. And I'm just like, no, we're not going to do that. you know, so, I mean, and there's times when, you know, you're younger in business and newer and you don't have as a deep a bank account in order to support that stuff. And maybe you will have to accept graciously. But I would say to you, only if you honestly believe that whatever it is that ended up being is as good looking. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If it's not good looking, don't leave it there. It's your name. It's your reputation.
Yeah, and we changed it, and I paid whatever I needed to get it changed. It was totally fine.
Right, so. And now she is a loyal customer because she knows that you will do what it takes to do what is right. Love it. I love it a lot.
Yay!
All right, so you have a couple of really big learning lessons in this first 6 months of business. Hiring the bookkeeper, owning your mistakes, not putting off having the hard conversation, right? What did Lee Cockrell say to us? He said, if you do the hard thing, everything else gets easier. And if you do the easy thing, everything else gets harder, right?
Love it.
I know,
so
me
good.
too. I love it too. All righty. So what else? How about with your conversations with Kelsey? Anything else that you learned from Kelsey Gross of Farmer's Daughter Interiors?
No, all I did was reached out social media, like said, oh, I'm in business 1 week or something. She was like, yay for you. But that's about it. But I did reach out to Lane McNabb in San Francisco, who I love. And I had an opportunity to get a new build out in Napa. And so I'm still kind of in the beginning phases with that. But I don't want that job, actually. It sounds great. It's like a multi-million-dollar project. But I don't want to do new builds. I only want to do furnishings. And
that would seem like a very hard project to do within the parameters of your ideals for your business.
Right, exactly. So, I don't want to be chained to this, going back and forth, and this is just really hard project. So I reached out to her, and she was like, no, you can do it, but I might just give it away to somebody or her or something. I don't know. But she was really helpful and really a cheerleader and supporter, and I just really admire that. And I have a project coming up in November going out to San Francisco for an install, big one, and we want to do coffee together. So hopefully we get together. And
that's great.
Yeah,
that's terrific.
They can learn from her situation.
Yeah, we have a lot of homies out there in San Francisco. You got Krista Cooper is out there,
who I reached out to.
Oh, you did?
Okay.
That's great. And then I don't know how far Angela Rasmussen is, but she's like San Jose area. Isn't that same area, or is that further away?
I mean, it's hard because the Bay Area is so congested, so it's like hard to.
But she just built her new design studio. I don't know if you follow her on Instagram and see those pictures, but that is a work of art, their studio. So if it's an opportunity and you could do it, it'd be fun. So, and Lynn K. Leonidas, isn't she also in that area too?
Yes, I think so. There's a ton of them out there.
She's also she's also very giving and help and willing to help. Well, everybody is. It's fun,
I just love this community. I think everybody has been super great because there's so much business to grow around, and everyone has a different aesthetic and personality that everybody has a person that they can work with.
Exactly. I love it. Well, I have to tell you, you're a very impressive lady there, Kim.
Thanks. I think you are too. So, and everybody who's on the show and everybody out there listening, you're impressive too, and we can all just be super fun and
That's
super
it.
impressive.
I think it's awesome. I love your energy. I love that you give back. I mean, you've certainly been giving to me, and I do appreciate it and acknowledge it. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It really is. It's really something else, and I just think it's great how you're growing and how you're soaking all the information up and how you're applying it. And I would say to you, hit me back up in 8 months or a year, and let's see what's changed. Okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to get on this show every day.
That's awesome. All righty. So website. Tell us the website so everybody can see you.
Yes, I am at Kimberly K. Like I said before, it's Kimberly with an LEYKAY interiors.com. And you can hit me up on Instagram as my other place, and that's the same, Kimberly K Interiors. And I just love to chat with all y'all. So you
Yeah.
just, reach out.
Yeah, your Instagram is fun. It's
Yeah.
it's a riot. I love it. As soon as I see one of the videos, I'm like, okay, I'm stopping whatever I'm doing.
I'm gonna actually put one out I'm changing my Tuesdays to my Thursdays because I've seen a little bit more action on Thursdays. So
Oh,
hopefully that'll give me a little boost of something.
okay,
But
cool.
yeah, and it's that with the I did a little refresh on the Airstream. So
Oh,
that's
I saw that when I meant to
yeah.
bring that up. I actually have it written here in my notes and I forgot.
Yes.
That was an amazing transformation.
Yeah. So the funny thing is
You
I
tagged the Airbus people, right?
I
Did
did. And the
anything happen
funny
of
thing
that?
no,
Oh.
unfortunately. Gosh, don't they know who I am? Just kidding. I've been business 6 months. Come on, no, just kidding. No, the funny thing is I put all that stuff in there from my house. So I had all this stuff for my backyard, which I'll be doing
Oh.
a video on that too. So it'll be all the same stuff, yay. But so I put it all in there and just to do these videos because it's really hard to get these videos done in the busy time that I have going because I'm solo and where am I getting these little vignettes? I got to figure this out. So they came to visit yesterday and I was like, "Oh my God, I need that Airstream right now to freshen it up and make this video." So they were so excited after I did it and then I was like, "Okay, let's
That's all my
disassemble."
stuff.
Yeah.
You can have your boring Airstream back.
Yep, exactly. They've been texting me all day today to ask me, so how should we do this and where do we go? I was like, please don't do anything until I get my hands on this. So,
So this is funny because we didn't tell the whole story. This is your parents. So
yeah,
your Instagram this week was you said my parents just pulled into my driveway and they've got their Airstream and you gave us the before and it's very pretty and it's a very nice Airstream but it's all ivory and off white and beige. And then you do this after. So I didn't think about this. I was about to let you go, but now I have to keep you here a minute.
yeah.
So talk about that dilemma there. So that was very creative of you. You took a look around at your backyard and thought, oh, I can accessorize this Airstream right here. But I've seen you do the bed accessory ones. Are you just
Yep.
taking beds in your own house and taking all
Yep,
your pillows off? Yeah.
exactly.
And
And
what
just
are you
like
doing? Are you
shuffling
setting up
everything
your
around.
Are you setting your iPhone up on a tripod? Like what are you doing?
No, I just find these little spaces wherever and I hope that it just stays in the spot. So then I press play really fast and then do my thing and then make sure that the video's good. I mean, it takes a long time to make these things because I'm like, oh man, that doesn't work because it fell down or something. So that's really fun. But also I would love to do styling of my clients' homes and stuff, but I'm in like sweaty gear when I'm installing, and it's like 100 million degrees here in Arizona,
Right.
so I can't just do that. So I have to look cute, wear a dress. Like,
And so, like the video, to give an example, the before, the and the after video of the Airstream, for example. How many takes? Well, how long is that taking you to do?
well, actually, I just did that. It took me an hour to take the before, zhuzh it up, and then do this video. And then I actually had my mom hold the phone. I was like, lady, get over here and hold this so I could take this really fast. So I actually got 3 videos out of that. So I did like the bed as one video, the countertop, and the table. So I was able to get 3 out of that, which was great. So that's
Okay.
3 weeks. Woo!
That's right. And so, are you editing them at all, or you're just
Oh
no, just
no, no.
putting them up?
Yeah, straight up. Here go, everybody.
Love it. I love it. That's awesome. That's great. So we're going to have a lot of people go and check out your Instagram page and these videos because
Yeah,
that's encouraging to know that you just do it. Just do it.
yeah.
Don't
It's
overthink it. Just do it.
right. And I feel like so many people do like 100 selfies or 100 videos, and I just like don't have time for that. So let's just get them up. Let's be real. Let's be ugly. I don't know. I was sweating in the Airstream yesterday, so I'm sure you'll see a couple sweat marks, but whatever.
Oh my God, that's so funny. You're great.
That's me.
That's awesome. Well, I have to say thank you so much for all of the love that you've been showing me. I totally appreciate it. And I thank you for coming on the show today, Kim, and telling everybody about, the good, bad, and the ugly of your business. It's a great growth story. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was so happy to be live with Lou.
I'm going to have to hashtag that now, right?
Exactly. Live with Lou, everyone. I could be your intro lady. There's so much to love about what Kim has done in 5 short months. She has established her company mission and her company values. And if you remember, we talked about this with my husband back in episode 78. He said that is the very first thing that you should do when you start your business. And Kim did it. I love it. So she's very clear on who she is, what she wants her firm to look like, and how she wants it to grow. That's very important. Then I love that she hired a bookkeeper. She did say she did it later than she should have, but I know for a fact she didn't do it later than many others have. So that's a high five. She follows Michelle Williams' advice from episode 180 on Profit First. She opened her different bank accounts and she pays herself every month. I like that she listened to Jody Padar, the Radical CPA, from episode 229, and she knows not to settle when hiring a bookkeeper or an accountant for someone that's dismissive or disrespectful. This is what action looks like, peeps. If you are listening each week and you're not doing, get off your butt. Now, I know, believe me, you can't possibly do everything all the time. And I know, because I say to you all the time, there are things that I don't get to as well. Believe me, I get it. But I'm not talking about getting to your Facebook Lives. I'm talking about getting to your finances and getting your processes down and establishing your quarterly and your yearly goals. These are things that have to be done. These are what I call the non-negotiables. So let me know if you are like him and you too have a list of the things that you have learned from a well-designed business and you'd like to share your journey with everyone else. Come on the show. Email me at info@windowworksnj.com. I'd love to hear about it because I think these types of shows are incredibly valuable for all of us. All righty. Now, if you want to be on our email list, don't forget, you can just text the number 444-999 in the field. Put Design Biz, DESIGNBIZ. No caps, no spaces. All right. It'll take you to one more field. You'll put your email in and you'll be on the list. You'll know everything that's going on related to a well-designed business because it's getting a little busy over here, folks. I'm just going to tell you. As an example, next week, I will be at America's Mart. Are you going? If you're going, please let me know. I know Elle Wolf said that she's going, and I cannot wait to meet you, Elle, in person. I feel like I know you. It's crazy. I do hope that all of you that are coming will come out to our panel talk on tech and design, and please be sure to introduce yourself to me. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like the show, will you please tell me by writing a review in iTunes? I'd really love it if you did. Thanks tons. Have an excellent day. Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.